All right, take two. My apologies. Some technical issues on our side. We thought we were doing something different, and now we are good. So, my apologies. I think there was a couple people that asked questions that might have gotten cut off. Um, so I will we'll try to regroup here. And if you as you come in, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. Um, but today is a very exciting day, and that is the Dad University membership is launching or has launched. And this is something that we have been working on for a very long time. Very excited to get it launched. Very happy that it's live now, so we can figure out all the things that are going wrong and fix things, and then also make it better. And that's the one thing I think that's it's now in motion to where we can make this thing really really good. And so for those who want to be a part of the membership, they can be a part of this. I'm still going to put out my YouTube videos. I'm going to get back in doing that. I know it's been a while since I've been able to put out videos, and that's because we were putting all this together. Hundreds, I shouldn't say hundreds of videos. I don't know the hours of like remastered footage and re-editing things. And then also just the creation of the courses and all that goes into that. Redoing an entire website with a whole different kinds of system and back end and e-commerce. And, I don't need to get too technical, but it gets pretty complicated. And so there's just a lot that goes into it, and you don't realize what you're getting into. Jason Delgado, hey, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. If you guys, when you come in, just say hello. Just say where you're from. I'd love seeing kind of where people are from, and it's good to see some regular people coming back. It means that's a good thing. As a creator, it's good to see when people come back rather than me scaring them off or not. Jason, you're from Chicago. Good. That's cool. Jonathan, is taking your 1-year-old to the park every day, is that bad or good? I mean, I don't see that as bad if your child enjoys the park or you enjoy the park. Things too with young ones is they love routine. So I don't think, you have to feel like you have to have variety all the time. It's us as adults that always feel like we need variety. Kids love routine. And so, they go to the park and maybe they have a specific routine. I think I don't see any problem with it. I'm curious as a follow-up, maybe what is it that you think could be bad? If you can write it in there. But yeah, any question, if you guys do have questions, throw them in the chat. I'm happy to answer. This is much more relaxing and much more, I don't say enjoyable. It is enjoyable, but because I do enjoy the other parts of the business as well. But having been staring at a computer I've been staring at a computer for 20 something years, but specifically, working on this website and getting this stuff done, it's just so much on the back end. I can imagine whatever it is from a creative endeavor, like people who do music or actors or, even athletes or anything when you release something that's creative, so many people, I don't think people realize how much goes into it. You kind of only see the finished product. And so it's pretty cool. I almost got a little bit emotional, actually when we were releasing this, because it's almost just like a huge, I don't say weight, because it's not a bad thing. It's just like this big release and also taking a moment to just take it in, it's like, this is something that's so big, had so much work. And I'm sure you can, if you've gone through something that was just so intensive, whether that is like a schooling or a trade or training or a boot camp or, something where it's so intense that you finish it. It's just like, we finish it by meaning getting the site up, but like now everything actually starts. A couple questions coming in. Professor Castillo, good to see you. When did your kiddos start potty training? My wife actually handled the potty training. My son was probably about 2.5, well, maybe 3-ish, 2.5, 3-ish. And my daughter was a little bit before, because my son was 2 years older, kind of taught her and she watched. So she was maybe around 2 or so. But with our son, our first, my wife just let him run naked for a week and caught him every time he was about to go to the bathroom. And he learned pretty quickly. Can't say I'm a expert in potty training, but that was one way of doing it. And then my daughter really, it was my son who taught my daughter. It was like, come on, let's go to the potty, and she took to it really, really easy, much easier than he did. How about a moody mom to be? Any suggestions on how to remain patient with her? Well, make sure you don't call her a moody mom in front of her. That's to be expected. There's a couple things. Is don't take it personally. Even if things are said personally, you know what I mean? Some of the videos that I've done with that topic, give some specifics of just not taking things personally. Hormones are crazy. They can make a person say and do crazy things. Our hormones can too, just on the opposite side. But yeah, to be more patient, I think, you need to take a little bit of time for yourself too. There's some self-care that probably needs to be done. And, but the biggest things that I recall are just, that being patient, it's kind of like realizing what are the triggers that make you impatient. And oftentimes it's fear. It's not knowing, it's kind of the unknown. There's stress as far as like financial stress sometimes. So part of like remaining patient, I think, is understanding what is it that is getting you worked up and kind of addressing it in that way. But the biggest thing for me, I think, was just not taking it personally. Is you kind of have to look and separate the person. If your partner is pregnant, it's like they're going through so much. You have it easy. So they're going through physical, emotional, like all kinds of difficulties and stuff. And it's not to say that yours is, very easy, but the physical and hormonal stuff that they have to go through is just like light years more than what we have to go through. And so I think you have to have a little bit of empathy. I think that's the other thing. Be empathetic and realize that it is not easy to go through what she's going through. And so being a little bit moody, that's okay. Just be careful of what you call it. Be supportive and don't, as I said, recognize what it is that's getting you impatient. Let's see what else. Bapjap. Little guy is 14 months and still hates the car seat. What's the best remedy? One of the things we did was allowing our children to put themselves in the car seat. And so we kind of made it like a little bit of a game. We say, hey, do you want to try getting in the car seat yourself? And 14 months might be depends on the child, might be a little too early. But that was something where, especially for our son, he early on wanted to do everything himself. And that's where when a child becomes a toddler, it's like they are trying to figure things out. And so we kind of made it a game. Instead of like, we carry the child and you throw them in the car seat and you're strapping them in. It was like, hey, do you want to try to do this yourself? And, see if you can do it, and if they're not of that age yet, in 14 months, likely not. But you could kind of like even putting their hands together and sort of like having them hold it and like be, I think of it like a puppy. A puppy is not supposed to dislike going in a cage. The cage is supposed to be a safe place for them to go. And even with the child, the car seat shouldn't be a prison. The car seat should be something that is fun. They feel safe. They feel secure. And so maybe there's some kind of toy that can go with it when they're in the car seat. I think you have to change the experience. You have to change the experience of what the car seat means, not like, hey, we're leaving, get in the car seat, and try that and see if kind of changing the experience a little bit might help. Jonathan, well, how do you know if it's too much park time in a day? Because you had asked the question before about going too much to the park. I mean, I don't think there's too much time. The only thing would be is if if you're finding that the child isn't doing well, getting extremely bored, or some children though just love the routine. They'll stay there for hours. Others need change. I think going to a park is great. It doesn't cost money. It's you're out in nature. It's I mean, going to a park is one of the best things you can do. Don't I always tell people, don't waste money at some of the other things like the amusement parks and things. You bring food, you can bring games there. I mean, going to the park, being on the swings, I mean, all that stuff, it's great. Kids love that stuff. So I don't see anything wrong with it. Wayward Soul, good song or good name. Commented, just remember she's carrying your child. Strap a bowling ball around your waist and see how happy you are. It's a good point. I think that goes along. Maybe a better way of saying, I mean, it's not a better way, but a different way of saying that is be empathetic. Realize what it is that they are going through, and your patience might change a little bit. And I think that was the other. Empathy is a big deal. That's realizing the situation and looking at the situation through her eyes and what she has to deal with. So yeah, but if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Wanted to mention too, we just went live with the membership. Go to daduniversity.com, click on the become a member. The price of the membership, it's a monthly membership, is pay what feels good. If anyone has done yoga, you might be familiar with something like that. It is pay what feels good. It's pay what you want. That's the model that we are using. And the reason for that is that I have realized, we've done research, we've done all kinds of stuff, people value this stuff differently, and I respect that. There are some people that would only get this information if it's free. There's other people that will be absolutely willing to pay for it a little bit. And there's other people that are really interested and are willing to pay a lot for this information. And so instead of making it very strict and very specific, we just said, let's open it up and people can pay what they feel it's worth. And, we're seeing numbers all over the place, and that's okay. It's helpful for me to see the value. There's a tremendous amount of work that goes into it. And so, we do have a little bit of a minimum just because, to service users and costs and everything else. And so, but at the same time, it's something that it'll be interesting to see the value over time. And we'll post that. Like, I'm not going to hide that information. We'll see, what it is that people value. A couple more questions coming. John Doe, my wife is a stay-at-home mom who has a child who hates being in the car seat. She is slowly going crazy by staying inside all day, every day. Any advice on what to do? Couple things. Yes. So for women, I mean, I give advice to dads, but for anybody, whether you're a stay-at-home dad or you're stay-at-home mom, you have to find also others to interact with. And, whether it's a mom group or a dad group or some kind of group is one way. The other is going to places where there are other people. So sometimes that's parks or, climbing places or jungle gyms or things. If you have the financial means to do something and that's within it, then within reason, then, you can join like little, tumble gyms and, depending on the age of the child, or baby classes. There's all kinds of things. Local organizations will sometimes do things. I think you have to force yourself to get out. I mean, one of the things we did, or my wife did, I was just talking with somebody about this, is we have a Legoland, which is, an amusement park. And it was an expensive thing for us at the time, but it was so worth it because we got an annual pass, and my wife took, well, first our son and then both children there all the time. She would pack a lunch, pack snacks for everything. So, because you were able to bring a backpack in, and she would go there almost like multiple times a week. And so that was an entertaining thing, that she got to get out and just be out instead of sitting at home all day. And, sometimes things cost money. So if, finance is an issue, then you do have to find things. You can go for walks, you can, like I said, find parks, find places where other people are and interact. And you have to, for your sanity, for sure. It is hard being around the baby all the time, and you need that adult interaction as well. So Wayward Soul would suggest find a close spot like a Target or shopping center. That's true. Just people watching can be something, or even just walking through Target, or Walmart or anything. It's like you don't have to get something, but you could just go and walk through it. I know near us we have Costco, and people go there and try some of the samples. You can spend, a couple hours through there. And so, yeah, I think that part of it is that interaction, for anyone who is not a stay-at-home parent and for some reason thinks that that's an easier gig, try it. I recall my wife had stayed home for a bit before going back to work part-time, and, she needed to do something. It was like a weekend, and so I was alone with the baby for multiple days by myself. And it was, I had so much respect because I had been working all the time. And I just realized, because I was like, oh, she has it easy. She gets to go to the park and she gets to go here. And it was not easy. There was nothing easy about it, because I would see pictures of them having fun, whatever, but I didn't see all the horrible parts. She forgot to, show me all that stuff. She would occasionally tell me, but, it is not an easy gig to be with a baby or be with a small child for hours and hours and hours, and especially if you're not interacting with adult humans. Let's see. Any content, the conservative Indian, any content on babies coming home from the NICU, corrected age care, etc. I don't have anything specific. My daughter was in the NICU for about a week, or at least a couple of days. I haven't done anything specific on that. That's an interesting topic, though. I'll have to note that. I appreciate you asking that one. Hopefully everything's okay. John Doe, will this live stream Q&A happen weekly? As of right now, I don't know that it would be weekly. I will have a member for people in the Dad University membership from the website. That will be a monthly Q&A just for members, and it'll be a little bit different format. It's going to probably be via Zoom, so we can actually interact and see people, and you guys can ask questions. And so when we go through somebody's question, we can kind of talk through it, as other people will be able to see that. You can turn off the video if you want, but that's how I'm seeing that going. So it's a little bit different. So, I had done a live show for a while on here. It's fun. I do enjoy it. But I don't see right now, just because of time, probably being a Q&A weekly. I will try to do them. I enjoy them. Duffel Cole, good to see you. 95 Kilo, good to see you as well. 95 Kilo said, John Doe, have you tried, this was for the car seat, have you tried adjusting the seat? Brought a toy, try bring the seat inside and start giving a bottle in it. That's good advice. Jonathan asks, what can I do when your baby doesn't want to eat what you make? Couple things. So, I did a video on picky eaters, and there's a couple things to keep in mind. When kids are very young, there can be some texture issues, where let's say they actually, or they have an aversion to a specific food, and that can be real most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. It's simply just a taste preference, or wanting, or if you do feed them something sugary, or they're used to getting juice or something, then yeah, I mean, one of the things we were very conscious about was absolutely limiting the amount of sugar that our children had early on. And that's even with fruit. You even think about fruit has a tremendous amount of sugar. And so when they get, they start, although, oh, so Jonathan, should I feed her fruits or something that I know she will like? So what often happens is that parents are so concerned that the kid's not eating something that they just want them to eat. And so they'll give them something, fruit, crackers, whatever. Now, I'm not a dietitian. I would say consult with I'm running a disclaimer here. I can tell you what we did with our child is that often they wouldn't eat because they weren't hungry. We go by our palate and our hunger and our such. And oftentimes we just realized like the child wasn't very hungry. And so when they were really hungry, they would eat. And so a lot of times, we sit down, we'll sit down, it's meal time. We're like, okay, here's your meal, and they won't eat it. Well, it depends if they're able to communicate or not and say, you know what, I'm not that hungry, or they don't even know. And instead, we're thinking that they're picky eaters, but they're really just not hungry. So you got to be sort of mindful of that, skipping a little meal might not be that bad. Or also look at the snacks that you're providing them. If you're providing them snacks throughout the day, you might want to back off on some of the snacks. But we often use food to get them to do something or to calm down or whatever. And so we use food for pacifying all the time, which can be harmful. So I think you need to be mindful of that, of how you're using food. And, this is probably this is where I would love with the membership, you guys, could ask follow-up questions as far as what you're feeding, the timing, how often. There's all kinds of questions that we could ask to get into it a little bit more. So I think I depending on what age the baby is, I think that that's something you need to look at. It's, maybe you're feeding the baby too many snacks during the day and they're simply just not hungry. Well, Uncle Skeeta just bought a puppy and I'm on the wrong channel. Well, welcome, Uncle Skeeta. We have a new puppy too. And I love our puppy. And so with that, no, I don't know. I only have a couple minutes here because I have to go pick up my daughter. This is the life of Dad University and multitasking. So I am trying to deal with the launch, deal with parenting responsibilities, and do all kinds of business and, family type things. And so it never ends, it seems. So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming in. If there's additional questions, you guys can, join us next time. Sign up for the membership. I encourage you. You can pay what you want, pay what feels good. Just go to the website, daduniversity.com. Ryan, last question. My daughter is almost 1 year old, but I feel like she's telling me she wants one nap. Is it too early? No. I mean, you go based on their, if she's getting a good night's sleep, a good amount of hours, and she only wants one nap. My son was a horrible napper. I mean, he had FOMO. He had fear of missing out. He didn't want to nap through anything. And so, but he slept really well throughout the night. And so naps went away really quickly. I mean, I don't even remember getting 2 naps. He just was like, I'm done. I don't need it. Kids need their sleep and we want to make sure they get their sleep, but try it and see how it goes. Sean, good to see you, but I don't know that that's my department, but what's your recommendations on buying a home single before dating and having a family? If you are selling me real estate, then I don't know if I need to answer that question. But if you really want to know, I think real estate is a great investment or can be a great investment. But again, I'm not an investment advisor. I am a dad advisor. But I personally, value real estate and have done that since I was younger, or when I was first able to buy a home. That's what I did, and I was single at the time, and so anyways, good talking with everybody. Thank you again. Go to daduniversity.com, sign up to become a member. We'll do some of these chats. You'll have a little bit more interaction, and hope to see you on another stream soon. Thank you, everybody. See you soon.